In this video, we will thoroughly analyze Illumi Zoldyck's aims and priorities. And we will answer the question, why is he so obsessively attached to Killua? We will uncover the truth from the perspective of the tragedy of being born the black-haired eldest son. What we find is a self-ego that was thoroughly castrated from a young age, and the figure of a sorrowful program created solely to maintain the massive system known as the Zoldyck family. Chapter 1, The Emotionless Calculator, Illumi's Priorities. To understand Illumi as a human being, we must first look at the terrifying set of values he displayed during the election arc. During the conflict surrounding Iruka's ability, Nanaka, Illumi moved to stop Killua, believing that the way Killua intended to use Nanaka risked wiping out the entire Zoldyck family. He was willing to kill his own brother to prevent this. However, he then made a shocking proposal to Hisoka. He suggested that if Killua could control Nanaka without risk, he would be willing to die by Killua's hand in order to secure that power for the family. "It's fine. If I die, I will live on forever in Killua's heart." This single line encapsulates the entirety of Illumi's abnormality. For a normal human, or even a typical villain, one's own life or one's own ambition is usually the top priority. But the priority list inside Illumi is mechanical and cruel. Priority number 1, the survival and prosperity of the Zoldyck family. This is an inviolable rule. The destruction of the family is an error far heavier than his own death. Priority number 2, Killua as the strongest head of the family. We must be careful here. It is highly likely that he does not love Killua simply as a brother. He views Killua as the vessel of talent, the masterpiece in the history of the Zoldyck family. Priority number 3 or lower, Illumi himself. Surprisingly, he recognizes himself only as a disposable pawn. To achieve his goals, he will change his face, discard his pride, and even offer up his life. He has no self. There is only the command code input by his father and grandfather: protect the family, raise your brother. When you think of it this way, the meaning behind those inorganic eyes becomes clear. Perhaps, inside those eyes, the soul of an individual named Illumi never existed to begin with. Chapter 2, The Curse of Genes, Black versus Silver. Why did the eldest son become a man who kills his own self to serve his younger brother? The key lies in the correlation between their hair color and abilities. Look at the Zoldyck family tree. Grandfather Zeno, father Silva. They are the successive heads of the family, and they both possess beautiful, silver hair. Their abilities belong to the transmutation category. On the other hand, Illumi, Maluki, Iruka, and Kaluto. Apart from Killua, all the siblings have black hair, and most of them fall into the manipulation category. And then, there is the third son, Killua. He alone was born with the same silver hair and transmutation aptitude as his father and grandfather. This genetic rule likely determined Illumi's fate the moment he was born. Imagine the day the long-awaited first son of the Zoldyck family was born. But the baby's hair was black. In that instant, his life's trajectory was fixed. This child is not the king. Raise him to be the strongest knight who protects the king. Even though he was the eldest, he was removed from the leading role right from the start. The education he received from childhood was not the study of how to rule, but likely selfless devotion to support the true ruler. You are the shadow. Become the darkness that allows the light to shine. A child who is constantly imprinted with this idea eventually begins to discard even having his own emotions, treating them as unnecessary noise. Illumi's distorted personality is not something he was born with. It is the result of a perfectly executed human manufacturing process by the environment known as the Zoldyck family. Chapter 3, The Obsession with Needles, Control or Protection. Let's talk about Illumi's signature ability, the Needle People. And specifically, the needle that was embedded in Killua's brain to force his survival instincts. To the readers, this looked like a curse that dominated his brother and hindered his growth. However, from Illumi's perspective, the perspective of the family administrator, it takes on a completely different meaning. Killua is the family's masterpiece. He is a treasure that must not be lost under any circumstances. But Killua is still immature and mentally fragile. What if he encounters a strong enemy and dies? What happens to the future of the family? For Illumi, that needle was the ultimate safety mechanism. Fight opponents you can beat. Run from opponents you cannot. By forcing this logic, he ensures Killua absolutely will not die. For him, Killua's freedom, or will, is nothing but a risk. His statement about being willing to turn Killua into a mindless puppet to keep him is not born from a desire for dominance. It is an extreme conservative ideology. I must protect this asset from damage, even if I have to break its spirit. I am doing this for you. This is the safest, happiest path. This one-sided, violent expression of love is the true essence of Illumi, the manipulator. He genuinely believes it. He believes that robbing Killua of his freedom is the greatest love he can offer as a brother. This misalignment in perception is what makes him more terrifying than anything else. Chapter 4, The Contrast, Hisoka vs. Illumi. Let's look at the contrast with his ally, Hisoka. They often work together, but their essences are polar opposites. Hisoka lives for pleasure. For his own enjoyment, he will use the Phantom Troop, Gon, and everyone else. He is defined by a massive ego. On the other hand, Illumi has no pleasure. He only moves for work or family. If Hisoka is a hedonist living in the moment, Illumi is a determinist trying to secure the future survival of the family. In the story, Hisoka rates Illumi highly with a score of 95 points, yet he seems wary of him. Is that not because Illumi is someone you cannot reason with? You can bait a human driven by desire. But you cannot negotiate with a program. Illumi lacks human playfulness or openings. This elevates him into an incomprehensible, eerie existence within the world of Hunter x Hunter. Conclusion, the end of the pitiful eldest son. Killua met Gon, his light. He reclaimed Aluka and began to walk his own path in life. He is trying to break free from the curse of silver hair with his own will. But what about Illumi? Is there any salvation for him? Most likely, he will never change. For him, living for the family is as natural as breathing. To deny that would be synonymous with erasing the very meaning of his existence. Even if the time comes in the future when Killua and Illumi truly settle things once and for all, Illumi will surely ready his needles until the very last moment, claiming it is for Killua and for the family. A man who was robbed of his self from birth. A man who was taught only to love his brother as an object. Illumi Zoldyck. Before being a cold-blooded assassin, he may be the saddest victim created by a mad lineage. If there is a tiny scream of Illumi himself remaining deep within those pitch-black eyes, thinking about it that way changes how we see him, doesn't it? Killua, you are the light. I am fine being the eternal shadow that lets you shine. It feels as though we can almost hear such a voice coming from him.